Hello everybody and welcome to Attaché, the show that gets you in, out, and around some of the world's greatest cities. My name is Alex Hunter and I'll be your Sherpa on this adventure. And today we find ourselves in Britain's seaside jewel, Blackpool. It just never gets old. Still a funny joke. Paris is served by 3 airports. Charles de Gaulle to the northeast, the main international gateway, reputation precedes it, Orly to the south, and Beauvais, which might as well be in Belgium. From Charles de Gaulle, your best bet by far is to take the RER Line B into Gare du Nord. It takes about 35 minutes. From Orly, the Metro Line 14 costs 13 euros, will take you straight into Paris as well, so pretty straightforward. Taxis from Charles de Gaulle are available and are at a flat fee of 55 euros to destinations on the right bank and 62 euros for destinations on the left bank. Do bear in mind that taxis are supposed to have working card machines in them, but often they break and you'll be running all over Paris looking for an ATM. Uber is available and is sometimes slightly cheaper than a taxi, but traffic can be punishing, so pick your battles. If you are arriving in Paris by train, and I really do hope you are, you will arrive in one of Paris's 6 major train stations, including this, Gare de Lyon. They're all charmingly chaotic in their own way, but the beauty is that when you arrive, you are already in the heart of the city, the joy of train travel in Europe. Ba, ba, da. Getting around Paris is easy if you embrace the system. The metro is cheap, excellent, and extensive. It will get you pretty much anywhere in the city that you need to go. A single ticket will cost you just €2.50 and it's good for an entire journey, including transfers.
Paper tickets were completely discontinued in 2025, so it's either the Navigo card or the app. Cards can be purchased from kiosks and topped up at a machine, or, because we live in the future, on your phone. Bear in mind, you don't put a value on the card like an oyster or octopus. You buy tickets and passes that are then stored on the app.
Ticket inspectors roam the network and will show no mercy to tourists pleading ignorance. I can tell you that firsthand. If you are caught traveling with an invalid ticket, you will be cited on the spot and expected also to pay a fine on the spot. Ticket inspections usually take place right after the turnstiles in the busier metro stations, so make sure you've got that ticket before you go through the turnstiles.
Taxis in Paris are relatively affordable, especially at night when the city's infamous traffic thins out just a little bit. But here's the thing, there aren't as many of them as you'd expect, and actually getting one to stop can be, let's say, character building. It's not uncommon to try a few times before one actually pulls over, and even then, the driver will usually crack the window and ask where you're headed before deciding if they're up for it. If that all sounds a little too uncertain for your liking, good news. Both Uber and Bolt operate in Paris. Bolt is usually a little bit cheaper, but either will spare you that awkward taxi flagging ballet.
Walking is the best way to experience Paris. I mean, of course it is. Look at it, for God's sakes. And Paris, believe it or not, is a relatively small city. It's 10 times smaller than Greater London. But do allow extra time. Not because the distances are great, they're not, but because you will stop constantly for bookstores, for bakeries, for people. Paris rewards the flaneur, so be one.
While you're out there enjoying the fruits of being a flaneur, just keep an eye out for your cycling brothers and sisters. Paris is an extremely bike-friendly city, but with that comes myriad and sometimes easily overlooked bike lanes, where cyclists can hurtle towards you at speed and great surprise, so be safe out there. I think I've made it very clear how much of a fan I am of Bellroy. You saw the Venture Ready sling pop up in our Okinawa episode, and now it's become one of the most indispensable pieces of travel kit I own. So I am delighted to introduce you to my Bellroy Transit Carry-On Plus. This fantastic little case has been a long time coming, but it's definitely been worth the wait. They've put all their product design know-how into this thing, and the result is fantastic. It's light. The standard size weighs just 3.1 kilos. It's tough. The shell is made from a custom polycarbonate which balances strength and flexibility. Oh, and that shell is made from 80% recycled materials, by the way. Even the handle, often the weakest part of luggage, has been given that Bellroy magic touch. And all of that is backed by a 10-year warranty, so they're putting their money where their mouth is. But it's not just the outside that's clever. The inside is brilliantly thoughtful too, with built-in mesh packing cells to keep everything organized in there. Love this feature. And if all that wasn't enough to get you to buy one, you can get 10% off your Bellroy Transit Carry-On just by clicking the link in the description below. So grab one and check out Bellroy's fantastic line of products while you're there. It may come as a surprise, but Paris isn't always seen as the culinary capital of France, at least not by the French. Many will tell you the most memorable meals are found well outside of the city, in rural restaurants where regional specialties and local ingredients take center stage. Even among cities, Paris often finds itself playing second fiddle to Lyon, long considered the true heartland of French gastronomy.
But let's not kid ourselves. Paris is still a feast, one of the best in the world. You are going to find incredible food here at every level. Michelin star temples, late night falafel joints, cozy bistros. And while there is no way that I'm going to be able to cover the breadth and depth of the Paris food scene, what I can do is give you a couple of tips and tricks to make the most of your Paris food adventure. Why this show exists in the first place, right?
Let's be realistic though. The Parisian food scene, while glorious, can be intimidating. Thankfully, we have Fred Pouillot to help. Fred is a chef, French food expert, enthusiast, and proprietor of Le Foodist, a cooking class company based here in Paris.
A lot of people don't take cooking classes. They should definitely take cooking classes.
And what better person to help us eat our way around this wonderful city?
I've read of this sociology study that was done across many countries. It asked people, what did you eat today? And one French woman said, oh, I did not eat today, I had a sandwich. And that actually encapsulates the essence of the French food culture. Eating is not feeding yourself. Eating is actually sitting down with people and sharing time together around food.
And the French do it well, but there are certain nuances to be aware of before you join in.
We've done 77 episodes of this. To actually distill, you've got touristy on this side and ephemera on the other. How do you find the balance,
French people eat at 12:30. And so that gives you a lot of information about two things. When should you look for a restaurant? And where should you not go to eat?
Okay.
And you should not go to eat in places that are open at 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. because they are not targeting French people. They're only targeting tourists, okay?
That's gold.
Navigating that razor-thin line between traditional and touristy isn't easy, let's be real. And we all arrive in a city with different desires and perspectives.
I want something that is emblematic of a destination.
Yep.
And to somebody that lives in a city, that's going to feel tired and uninteresting and just there and part of their identity. But for me, that's why I want it. It's because it's emblematic. I just want to exist. I want to pretend I'm Parisian for a couple of days. And to me, if it's good or not is kind of irrelevant, because to me it will be good. It will be a wonderful experience, and that's what I crave.
So you don't really need me to tell you anything. You'll do whatever you want. You go anywhere and you'll be happy.
But of course, we do need Fred's wisdom.
Thank you.
And he obligingly delivers.
We moved to Paris area about 20 years ago. I had a passion for food. I would go to restaurants and I was mostly disappointed. And then I came across this guide, which was a printed guide, Le Fooding. And I started going to restaurants based on this. And they have a categorization of the essentials. And under the essentials, there is a tick box saying, so good. In French, trop bon. That's too good. And then there's another one called atmosphere, ambiance, and there's the third one that I can't remember. And I don't because the two criteria that my wife and I use is so good or atmosphere. My wife is atmosphere, I'm so good. So it reduces the number of restaurants we go to, and now my wife is vegan, so we can go out anyway. Bon, so it doesn't matter, but anyway.
And we can't discuss Paris dining without a small serving of haute gastronomy.
Haute gastronomy, to me, is a little bit unique to France, and you can eat haute gastronomy without going to an expensive restaurant. And there is a trick. Use guides like lefooding.com or Michelin, find the 1-star, and some of them will offer lunch deals that are unbelievable. At like 50 euros a meal, Michelin star lunch experience. You need to go weekdays, lunch, not weekends in the evening.
But if haute gastronomy isn't your thing and you still want to give traditional Parisian cuisine a shot, then there is a place for you too. Bouillon.
Bouillon, the concept is, it was a place where a lot of workers will go and eat, very, very low cost, low price, very accessible. And it remained that way. I remember eating in a bouillon Chartier, which is the original, supposed to be one that remains the original one, even though I'm sure they've changed the toilet and everything else, okay? So, voila. So they actually, I went there 20 years ago, but it was like, I don't know, 12 euros for a meal. I mean, it was a very good deal, very traditional. You know, you have the bow leg with the mayonnaise, you'll have those traditional meats or fish or whatever. And it was okay. It was, I mean, the value, because the price was so low, the value was great. Do I want to go there every day? I don't. Maybe some people do. I have no idea.
But it's not something that someone's going to turn their nose up at. If
no. Yeah, and I would recommend actually people traveling to Paris to try one of the bouillons.
With bouillon now on our radar, we have one last piece of Parisian dining esoterica: bistronomy.
They created restaurants that were much simpler in terms of the food produced, but still using the perfect technique that they learn in the high gastronomy restaurant training. And those restaurants are part of a movement called bistronomy. Okay, bistronomy. Okay. Like bistro food with haute gastronomy, and you bring the two concepts together, it's called bistronomy. And bistronomy is a thing that only Parisians have heard about, maybe some French people. And when you talk to people that are not from France, they look like, what? Bistronomy, bistronomy. It's not tradition, it's not high-end, and it's not trend, but it's a bit of a trend for the Parisians. But it's not that trend of the hamburger. It's not the stuff that is homogenized across all the cities around the world. But I would argue that the gastropub is the same idea.
Okay.
Same idea. Okay?
I see. Oh, that's perfect. That's great.
The rest you can cut, but that was great.
Our time with Fred ends in a nearby fresh food market, the bounties of which end up in bistros all over Paris. And we, armed with Fred's invaluable wisdom, can continue to make the most of our Paris food adventures.
Merci. Nothing worse than a sad croissant, and this is not one of them. Start your day at a boulangerie, because why wouldn't you? But don't chase the latest TikTok ephemera or whatever bakery the latest guides are pointing to. Instead, step out of your hotel, wander for a couple of streets, and find the boulangerie with a line of locals. And when you find it, don't just get one thing or two, make it a sample session. Here's a tip. When you look at the title or the name of the pastry itself that you're about to enjoy, if it has an asterisk next to it, it means it was prepared from frozen, and you might want to find a new place to find a beautiful baked good like this.
But of course, baked goodness extends beyond breakfast in France, and the next specialty is a Paris must.
I take great pleasure in introducing my personal favorite, the glorious jambon beurre. Beautiful in its simplicity. It is, as it literally says, ham and butter in a beautiful roll. And what's even better is this isn't just a tourist trap. This is eaten by people all over this city. In fact, it is so quintessentially Parisian that its nickname is the Parisian. Here's a story. The last time I came here to this exact boulangerie, I got one of these. I walked one block that way and I sat down in an empty courtyard, a weirdly empty courtyard. At that moment, I noticed a guy over there with an earpiece in. A moment later, a car pulls up, the door opens, and out steps the president of France, Macron. who just wanted to have a chat and a sandwich with me. He actually went in to open a cultural center, but that is the allure, that is the draw of the beautiful Parisian jambon beurre, the best. Well, they also wouldn't let us leave without trying their vanilla flan, which they claim is the best in Paris, and I'm going to tell you, oh, mother of God, that is absolutely freaking delicious. Look at that. You can see the vanilla bean. I think I'm in love.
Evening in Paris and the heavens open. So the only just thing to do at this point was to, obviously, eat ice cream.
I would like to introduce you to another one of my personal Paris favorites. Is it Parisian? No. Is it French? No, it's not even French, it's Lebanese. But look at it, it represents everything that is wonderful about this city. Firstly, it's beautiful. I mean, look at it for God's sakes. It's perfectly crafted using organic milk, natural flavors, but most importantly, it is a product of one of the many cultures that have come to Paris and made it their home. So drop the preconceptions of what you think Parisian or French food is, and even on a rainy day like today, indulge in something as exquisite as this. Oh, so good.
Mark my words, Bashir. Whatever the weather, I'll be back.
France uses the euro and Paris uses a lot of them. This is not the world's cheapest city. You could pay 6 or 7 euros for a coffee if you're sat on the wrong terrace, and a crap meal at a touristy restaurant could easily set you back 45 euros. But wander a couple of streets away, literally no more than 1 or 2, and you will see prices drop dramatically. And on that note, let's do the rundown. A cup of coffee will cost you around 3 euros. A glass of beer will cost you around 6 euros. And for the most reliable indicator of a nation's cost, the good old Big Mac, you're gonna pay 6 euros and 60 cents, or $7.50 American. Scams exist, of course they exist. We're in a major European capital, and they especially exist in tourist hotspots. So, if somebody asks for your help with a survey, or to sign a petition, or ties a bracelet around your wrist, just don't. Walk away. And yes, there are pickpockets. Of course there are pickpockets, but if you take the usual precautions, especially on the metro, keep your valuables safe or preferably back in the hotel, keep an eye on what you do have with you, you're gonna be fine. Tipping is not obligatory, but it's certainly appreciated. Service is included by law on all restaurant bills, but that shouldn't stop you from adding a couple of euros or rounding up to the nearest 10 if you've had a good experience.
It's been nearly a decade since our first Paris episode.
Start season 2 on Britain's seaside jewel, Blackpool.
And like all old flames, returning came with questions. Has it changed? Have I changed? Can a city like this even surprise you anymore? Turns out, yes, absolutely. Sure, a lot has changed since our last episode. An icon was destroyed and rebuilt. Others have been wrapped in tarpaulin and scaffolding, awaiting their own resurrection. Paris has always been good at appearances. The light, the fashion, the confidence. But look closer, and you'll see that style here is just the surface. The real Paris, the meaningful Paris, takes a little more work to uncover. But that's the point. The beauty of this city has never been in what's handed to you. It's in what you earn by looking deeper. So come, take the picture, but then put the phone away. Paris rewards curiosity and presence, and she's still got secrets to share.